professional casters.
Nah, I do that every calls a circle rip.
See what the start is here. No vision on to the start of G2 or for FB, so they can go off to a pretty scary start if they want to. Junglers will be swapping sides, however, so we may not see their interaction right off the bat. And this mid lane we'll keep an eye on as well.
Well, there's a...
Oh, never mind.
There's already a trick here.
That was a respect flash.
Very big respect flash from Frozen. J4 could, of course, use the flash combo to cover some extra distance, and you would say he was in flash range.
Yeah, I respect the respect flash from him, staying safe for now. Perkz obviously just wants to, in the early game, get as many levels as possible, hit level 6, combine it with Trick, going all in on the mid lane, and then Taliyah should die in that exchange. And it's very tough for Crash to help with Taliyah because their 2v2 around mid is just straight up weaker than what's going to happen from G2's side.
Yeah, the one big advantage Frozen will start to get is around the level 6 point, or more around like the Lost Chapter purchase when he can start to control the middle lane and clear those minions. The thing is he can roam, and Yasuo's never really going to excel at roaming. More often throws himself under the turret of the opposing team.
Yeah, happens quite a lot.
Pressure them. Creating space, of course.
From solo queue, a lot of experiences with the Yasuo players tend to go top lane and tend to never leave the lane except for when they die, and they are obviously stuck in the fountain, which is roughly half of the game time they're spending
by
there.
Stuck in the fountain?
They can't get out.
They can't get out because they're busy like writing in chat, obviously, about how it's your fault they're dying in top lane.
Oh, Trick! I mean, Perkz rather, and Frozen back and forth. Trick just below with Crash. They're in! It's gonna be the 1-2! And it's actually the kill coming in. Trick just in range execution. No, it was the hit already from Crash. And the back and forth as Perkz takes a hit right to the backside from Crash. They back off of that one. Thaldred now very low as he tries to slalom through the minions, but that is his defense as well.
I love when we have the big fight to mid and we cut straight to the big fight, and top lane is two tanks hitting each other and no one is actually doing anything. But Perkz, he had that one on his own. Trick though, he really wanted to help in the end, and again, that's fair enough, and he was part of it. Sadly for G2, Triggos ended up dying.
Yeah, he found himself a Sejuani on the way through to the middle lane, and Crash just had to auto-attack him 4 times, lock him down under the turret, and I believe it was 3 turret hits that Trick tanked on his way through, which is what kills him in the end.
A little hello and to do. We'll see this one more time. A relentless G2 to get their first blood in the game before losing one.
Yeah, this was the first trade where Frozen got a lot of damage early on, but then Perkz returned it, and with, of course, the knock-up ready, goes all in for cleanse for the exhaust, and Trick just makes it in there, but ends up tanking all these different turret shots, and that kills the jungler. Perkz stays alive, though.
Yeah, good from Crash nonetheless to be there, of course, to be able to secure that kill onto Trick, and Perkz, it was effectively that 1v1, I will give him that.
This tweet from the end of the regular summer split here. So
did promise it, yeah. Did hover it multiple times, obviously. I should highlight it also. Down the bot lane, Sven take a lot of damage.
Still want the fight, though. They have the minions in their favor. Piercing arrow shot over towards Padden. It looks like that rocket jump is down. Summoners are up for both sides, so it could have gotten a little more aggressive. Crash now moving into the jungle as Perkz starts to get pushed around a little bit after his back.
Still kind of waiting for level 6 around that mid lane for Perkz. There's no flash right now in Frozen, but it should be ready in time. And obviously, again, running cleanse for Perkz, double value, because 1, you can use against like a Sejuani engage, but 2, you can use against the exhaust coming down. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, they've just been kind of farming against each other. Not a whole lot happened down here.
Triss Lulu, though, going equal to a Varus Janna just means that Varus' lane presence as a champion does actually mean a fair deal in that 2v2, it seems. Ven obviously playing it quite well to be able to even be 4 CS ahead of his opponent.
And obviously for him, you rushed the Rage Blade on the Varus and you rushed the Infinity Edge on Tristana. So as we said last game, like once you get the first full item completed as an AD carry and there's Ardent Censer next to you, it's a bigger power spike for the Varus. And it's easier for G2 to play around that bot lane if they're not too busy constantly sitting in mid for Perkz.
Good vision here onto Crash. We see Trick going somewhere towards the top side, knowing this pressure bottom would relieve that. Looks like Crash actually wants to get over to the other side of the jungle as well, so both junglers thinking the same thing, opposite sides of the map.
Yeah, Trick looking perhaps more for ganks than just the counter jungling. Crash is playing a bit more slowly, trying to get into the jungle just as much as perhaps some ganks. More so countering, however, what Trick is trying to do. Level 6 is a big concern, as Deficio has mentioned, through the middle lane, so I like that Crash is now working with his team to try and get Vision down. As here we go.
Frozen stuck out. Whoa, Perkz being able to get the damage down, knocked backwards. Here comes Crash. This is where it gets tough. Cleanse down, dodges out on Sejuani's ultimate. Beautifully done. But here's the damage now. Trick's gonna get the pop-up just in time. Saves him from Crash. Perkz to the other side. Pattern with one shot and the wind wall down. Perkz is the same. Trick finds himself in a sticky situation, and he is gonna get locked down one more time. Pattern comes in, and pop goes the Trick. Frozen coming up with that one.
So in the end, 2 members die here from G2's side. It all started with the 1v1 between Perkz and Frozen. But then quickly, Crash showed up, Pattern roamed as well, and very, very early on, we kind of realized this was not going to be a kill for the Yasuo, but instead, a few kills overdue FB.
And you know why? It's because he ulted straight away. He used the tornado and stay close to them. He might have had a better time here with some follow-up presence, but Yasuo uses everything early and crashes right here. Of course, a nice cleanse, however.
Of course, but again, when you are a Yasuo player, you have to just look at the one member in front of you and ignore the map. So, despite his own jungler being on the other side and basically not having any idea of where Crash would be.
Ping, did they?
They didn't ping, yeah, there we go. Suddenly, he just gets, 2v1 and 3v1 in the end and ends up dying. Could have just taken an early trade with the ult and walked out, but had to go for the all-in.
3-1 now. FB starts it off with 1 to Crash, Frozen, and Pattern, so across the board it's quite nice to kind of get a little bit of gold in each lane, and maybe FB can start pushing that forward in each spot as well. Only seems to be out a few hundred for each.
Yeah, everything will once again calm down just that little bit more, even with the gold being fairly close between these teams. You are waiting for ultimate cooldowns, and that still exists once again for the side of G2. They can go towards the middle lane as Trick is 6. The capabilities of going for a play starts to increase ever more.
And moving towards the Phantom Dancer as well as the first item here on Perkz' side. Ulti is ready once again in case they want to force something. You can see Trick is constantly around this mid lane. They need that knock up, but there's a flash on Frozen's side.
Like they're just going to walk through, feel okay with this, say, let's use this time to clear some of this vision out. I believe I know where a pink ward is.
And that's the thing. So these two, whilst it might be pressure around the middle lane, as long as they're staying as 2, there is pressure. So whether it's clearing mid lane, pressuring Frozen, he's got a blue buff, and trying to stop him from just pushing Yasuo onto turret and then leaving, always going to be a possibility. And that's where Crash's role in this game is very important, to find where everybody is.
And he's done a good job so far. You know, he's been protecting around the mid side, picked up that first kill on Trick, and then we had to fight before we got another one. We'll also contest the blue buff, even gets it.
It was Trick that smoked. It was like a 2 health smite, I think, as well.
Yep.
Very unfortunate for the J4, but this unlocks FB to look towards the bottom lane with Talia roaming.
Yep.
Was a window that's completely gone now, though.
They were getting the vision control. Looks like they'll actually have to back off of that. But for now, say thanks for the blue denying that. Not a big deal from Perkz. He can still get his farm out in the mid lane. Just has to be careful against Frozen, who actually does have one. Keeps pushing him in.
And it will happen again. That's the thing. Frozen now, he's got the blue, he's got the Lost Chapter, he's got control of middle lane. Perkz didn't go for Ignite. He's only 80% solo queue. His cleanse will keep him alive, but it means that he can't all in and control the mid lane just as much. So Frozen is actually unleashed to help the rest of the map, and as a result of that, it's not just Frozen that is unlocked.
Yeah, Pattern and Japone down the bot lane, not having any issues, just constantly pushing in the lane and teaming up with Crash. Full vision on the bottom side. Top, not a lot is happening, but they don't need to. It's just 2 tanks facing each other, so it's all about the 2 junglers looking for the next gank, and then if Perkz can find that all in. We've seen him try a few times now. Trick gets smacked in the head by a Rift Herald.
Tried to joust the Herald. It's not going to work in your favor.
I like the Herald move here. I feel like we're going to get a really long laning phase if something like this doesn't happen, with just ganks back and forth fights in the middle of the map. Trick's actually going to back off of this for now. Just actually bring it along.
Oh, he's bringing his pet.
Yeah, come on. We're okay.
Frozen is doing something very smart here. Because he has all the vision on bot side, like, easy communication from his team is like, okay, we don't see the jungler on bottom side, just stay down there. Literally just stay down to near the river, near your own Raptor camp, so in case the enemy jungler shows up, there's a great chance you can just walk into your own jungle, and then you should be safe.
Get here?
No one knows.
Taliyah, here comes Frozen.
Probably gonna die for
Out of nowhere, there's the rupture. Oh, Nature's Grasp. A little too far away. I thought he was gonna get some cat hugs there, but no go.
No, Expect has the blast cone, so he'll be able to get out in the end, but FB have also swapped their lanes around. They're gonna still look for him.
Well, blam! Well, that was a little lackluster. Still gonna come in. Good tank for Crash. Frozen was like, I'm coming. Gotta surf the walls here, and they pick up the kill on Expect. His flash was down, so that was a quick pickup as Trick does not ult. Crash almost could have got a few shots in there, but you saw him easily jump over the wall.
Good move again here with Crash always setting it up here for FB. Very active in the early game, and G2 trying to defend. They're currently falling behind in gold. They've lost the Infernal Drake as well, and the Yasuo in the mid lane is not snowballing just yet. It's actually Frozen sitting with 2 kills, and he can go towards an Hourglass as well. With Exhaust plus Hourglass in teamfights, he might just be safe enough.
Yeah, one big point to look towards if you are G2 is just getting the Merc Treads onto Perkz for magic resistance and something that helps with their dueling. And until that point, I like what G2 are trying to do, and that's just extend the laning phase. Like you mentioned, is something they may want to continue doing just because their lanes are doing reasonably well. CS advantage in the 2v2.
Yeah.
So Patton, he's not going to have the item spike timing at the same time as Ven, especially with the CS deficit. And so FB to go around this and trying to get structures down and accelerate the turret taking game. G2 are magic.
Oh, face-to-face hits there. Sven.
Oh my god, he buried it late.
Holy moly, that's one more shot coming in. The shield though, Chain of Corruption comes back. Sven with a huge heal. Monsoon comes out now. I have no idea how this fight is continuing with all the shields, heals. Fight in the mid lane now as Crash is getting hit up. Steel Tempest used from Perkz, so they can't really get the knock up again until Trick comes back into the fight. That was missed. Perkz has to wait now and charge that up again, and they keep losing the entry into that fight.
There was 2 fights lost here for G2. No one died, but it was actually FB here winning the early trade. Sven did not expect the burst damage that came in. Late barrier, shield coming in as well from Mithy to actually bait out FB to jump in again after. Meanwhile in the mid lane, because advantage not in favor of G2. Crash is so strong at this point, and so is Frozen. They took that 2v2.
Yeah, certainly very strong, and the miscommunication perhaps between Trick and Perkz. I like the adaptation from this Yasuo. He didn't ult straight after the tornado connected. Wanted the second one to follow it up, but Frozen had too much pressure and was able to just completely zone him away.
And of course, G2 wants to get on the Taliyah and not the Sejuani if they want to all in with everything they got, but they couldn't land anything onto Frozen. Looking for a play in the top lane.
There's only 3 of them. It feels like it's a pressure game.
Hurricane?
Be about 2 through there. Beautiful Howling Gale into the last breath. That's the hit onto Patton. They just used quite a bit in the top lane for that fight, so his ultimate was not up. G2 takes advantage.
Good roam there from Perkz, and some serious damage already being dealt from him. That's a tower now for G2. First one in the game, so they get the gold lead back. Still lost that Infernal Drake from earlier.
Yeah, surprisingly, Perkz just coming up to the top lane. No jungler to be seen, no Trick, and it's still a successful dive in between turrets. Crash was nowhere near there in time. And suddenly G2, with the first turret gold, start to break open the map.
So important Perkz gets the kills here. You want that Infinity Edge for him as fast as possible, and then if he goes to a side lane, no one can stop him 1v1. It's just a quick roam up in that top lane. Frozen is in base with the Taliyah, so he can't help. And as soon as you hit the Hurricane, you're going to get that kill. I think if you are Patton here, just as soon as you see the Howling Gale, flash. Like, you know you're going to get ulted right after. Play it safe.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing there is it actually interrupted his jump.
Exactly.
He didn't flash away, and so he's made to pay for it by G2. Mithy's the real MVP in this situation, somehow hitting the tornado, aggressively diving.
And repping the Fnatic skin as well on the Janna here, sending some love to one of the other European teams that already made the top 8.
Yes, they have. Locked in their quarterfinal spot. Now G2 and Fenerbahce doing what they can to just put another victory under their belt here throughout the group stages. And a pretty back and forth game so far. The gold lead in favor of G2, but we're seeing Frozen and the team collapse quite well on these fights. G2 doing a little bit of that more now as Perkz is getting his roam on. And now he's towards the top side, going to start controlling a side lane.
Gotta question the fully completed Spirit Visage right now on Thaldren's side. It is mainly just physical damage you're dealing with. There is some magic damage, so I get the idea behind it. Also, when you're laning against the Cho'Gath, then you want that extra healing. But I think just stacking a bit more armor in the early game is better, because you will have some fights very soon in this game here, G2 will try and push up the pace, and this Maokai is not very tanky against most of the members of G2 at the moment.
Yeah, definitely the case. Of course, a Rage Blade has a bit of mixed damage. It's not a crazy amount. It could very easily have been some kind of armor item for sure, or even just go towards a Chain Vest or something else before you finish going for a Spirit Visage.
You can take a cowl, maybe, and then say, now I just want a fully completed armor item and my Ninja Tabi for the first fight.
It's just a great single item, right?
Love it, love it. Anyway, small things. Probably won't be a big deal for him, as long as he can complete that armor item before the next fight.
And while we're speaking about top laners, though, something else that is a very small thing that sometimes is very cool to see is when Cho'Gaths are playing in the top lane, you don't eat a lane minion. You go to the Scuttle Crab, you get rid of it. That way the Maokai doesn't know that it's on cooldown if they don't have vision of you taking that. And they may be more hesitant of you actually doing that in future, of course. He's not going to do it here. I just talk about it to see him ruin my hopes and dreams. He did it top lane once before already.
Absolutely.
You're lying to the viewers?
I am doing no such thing.
Oh, see what the push is here. A little chuckle from Expect as he is enjoying himself in lane, about 20 CS up. Only falling quite early to that hit. 28.9 to 27.5.
He is power spiking so hard, Perkz, on his Yasuo. He's ready to
get that Wrath, dude. It'll keep going if he can get those kills assists.
Like
keep that baby going.
Of having 100% crit. But he's gone for the elixir to power spike sooner.
It has to happen now. Impulse buys are a thing. It's okay. It's okay, as long as you don't do them all the time.
Well, he's in the top lane, looking for Frozen up here. Obviously, Ninja Tabi already for Frozen, and the Exhaust is available, but Cleanse against it. There's a big minion wave Perkz can use to dance around in, but probably wants to just secure the CS first. And also gotta respect that Crash once again is here to ruin the party.
That sounded kind of backhanded.
He's not named Crash for no reason.
Could have said Crash the party, but I'm like, nah, you know what?
There you go. There you go. So Rift Herald towards the mid lane. That'll bring it down just below half and should be finished off here by Sven. Able to crush through that Rage Blade up. Oh, there you go. Great job, Shelly.
Good use of the Herald to get themselves the mid lane out of turret. Still going. Yeah, get it. Work that turret.
Cheer it on. Frozen, roaming down towards the bot side. Blows him off. Just made it. Actually, Mithy got bumped by that one, but his movement speed allowed him through.
Good play once again. Sadly, no minions for them to actually hit the tower. It is solo. Give Pat just a few seconds, and it's gone. Yeah, we have a Yasuo behind him, and the Cho'Gath incoming.
It teleports.
He got the red elixir.
Cruising in. Oh, passive movement speed gets frozen out of the rupture. Now he can't choose a target. Chapone says, do not eat me. I'm out of here. And he keeps himself alive with the wild growth. 19 minutes on the clock. And we got the teleport down. So a little time wait here for G2. As they already have control over
that fight sucked, man. That was supposed to be something huge. There's no knock-up. Perkz got CC'd instantly as well. And while G2 can get a Drake, the rest of FB are pushing towards the mid tower.
Yeah, really didn't do it in the end officio, but they'll take the objective. Mid lane's actually something that FB will not break either, surprisingly, as all of G2 went towards that Drake. And it's just because they cleared the mid wave, did their due diligence, prevented that. I mean, he's against the smite, but he tried his absolute hard.
Oh, you cannot take a red buff away from a Yasuo player. That is not a smart
move. He's reaching now. He's going to be reaching.
Oh, you just made him mad.
Isn't that what you want to do?
Well, yeah,
against one?
Yeah, but he gets mad, you know, and takes over the game.
Or does the
valid
not take over the game?
Maybe he doesn't take over the game, but I don't know, man. Crash playing with fire right there.
Risky decision.
1 second on Baron. I was going to say 6, and then I waited that long, so it's up. Live on the map, 4-2, 20 minutes in. And FB controlling that top side of the map. That was Perkz just a bit ago, but now he doesn't really have a lane to split push in. He's getting pressure from Crash and Frozen, and the mid lane actually isn't being delivered any pressure from G2, so kind of a weird mismatch on the map. It looks like G2 is going to stop that towards the top side, though.
And there's definitely a world where G2 will go towards the Baron. Again, they've got so much damage they can place down with Sven, with Ardent Senses on Anjana, and with Perkz being there, let alone Trick also contributing a fair amount of damage, and having the flag to increase the attack speed. So there is a world where G2 go for this. And FB, they were on the bottom side of the map getting red buff. I was worried they would go for a gank or something. But G2, they have control and FB recognizes it.
Oh, they're fighting.
That was going to be huge. They were looking for the rupture for Perkz. Don't have it just yet. Steel Tempest back through 2. Flashes over the Taliyah wall. And the Divide will set up the fight. Chain of Corruption locks down to 2 as the Piercing Arrow rocks the back line.
Whoa.
Trick in, Trick out. And it looks like that's enough. Not a lot of damage from the last breath. And it looks like Perkz could be in a lot of trouble as he's in the middle of the frying pan. Cooked up and spit out. Trick now very low. Expect trying to be the last line of defense as Sven has stayed on the back line but hasn't been able to put in the DPS.
Yeah, that was a fight where both AD carries just stood back and fired away. No one could actually get to them. It was all about the Yasuo jumping in. The middle of the fight here. Patton gets the tower after the fight. 2 kills on his side. Red buff as well. Like, he's feeling very confident. And of course, we're all looking at Perkz, but there are other carries here to notice.
Absolutely. Patton, one of the big reasons why that fight was successful, but most importantly, FB started the fight. They chose to take the fight, and they are the ones who get the mid lane out of turret as a result of all of this as they go forwards and make the play happen.
Yeah, early engage onto the Yasuo here. Force Perkz to flash over the wall, so it's looking very good for FB at this point. A lot of damage unexpected. As we said here, Patton just left untouched in the back line, and it looks very flashy from Trick's side, but it's actually not that effective with his engage. And ends up just being, in the end, that 1-1 because Sven, funny enough, gets enough time to just hit the Sejuani.
And I don't think you often get a chance to see offense Janna being the engage tool for every Yasuo ultimate, but that's twice now that we've seen it happen. Once it worked, once it definitely did not.
Oh, let's see. Yes, just bought the GA. Would suck to lose it instantly. Perkz with the defensive buy, knowing he's diving into the backline of multiple tanks and a Lulu to ruin Yasuo's day.
It didn't rush the Infinity Edge, didn't
Exactly.
want 100% crit or to maximize his damage out.
Slightly disappointed, I will admit.
The Elixir wore off too, it's just a disaster for Perkz.
Looks like they're going to be running out of this one. Oh, Crash. Ultimate up and sees 5 members, but the team just not in range for that engage and follow up. Looks like they are going to start pushing G2 around now, but it's more so G2 as well. They could turn these fights around. They just have to set it up first.
And have to rely on Sven actually dealing most of the damage. Sure, there might be distractions flying around left and right if there's some knockups, but ideally your Hurricane Rageblade Varus sits there and deals, what was it, 1500 damage per minute from Prey.
Certainly was.
We had yesterday. Sven will have to do exactly the same in this game here to burn through the tanks.
Also known as the ouchies. Very, very technical term. Oh, it looks like we will have a quick pause here. 23.5 minutes into the game. 5-3 lead here for Fenerbahce, as we did see a little pressure towards the Baron from G2 just now. They're ready to start kind of flexing those muscles, seeing if Fenerbahce will kind of bite, and I believe we'll get quite a bit more of that. The outer line of turrets are down, so let the fights begin much more.
There's enough engage on G2's side to start Baron, wait for enemy team to walk into the river, and then instantly just turn around and engage with the Jarvan and the Yasuo flying in. A lot of teams in this meta, they struggle around Baron, because if you start the Baron, you can't really get to the enemy backline, and then the Ardent Sensei, the carries, is left to shooting at you, and you can't win the fight. But when you have this much engage on their side, they can actually do it and use it as a baiting tool.
It's interesting, though, when you break down G2's draft and say there is a lot of engage. There definitely is, but if you're running a Yasuo combo composition, then the Jarvan can't just ult to engage. Usually they'll flag, drag, then ult to cover distance, and then go forwards, and that's the engage tool. But if you use those 2 spells to be in ult range, well, then Yasuo loses one of the many opportunities to actually get the knock-up or to get the follow-through with a wombo.
We get the flash Q from Mythi. Or
That's
from Expect landing it. But at least if you get the enemy close enough.
It's almost guaranteed. If you flash Zephyr, they're slow, you hit it. 100%. Why wouldn't you want that?
It's true.
Every 5 minutes.
Every Janna player at home, take notes right there. The way to play team fights is flash forward. Land your slow.
How long is the game? You can do it 6 times in a 30-minute game. Boom, statistics.
You can
Anyways.
use the cooldown on your flash.
You know, at first I was going to say Sven could engage, but I think you've sold me. It should just always be Janna. There's no reason not to have a Janna flash forwards. No, don't actually do that.
So looking at Expect here, he is having a visual bug with death timers. Those are kind of imperative to know, so we're going to get him restarted back into the game. Should be fixed up quite quickly as we wait for the teams to once again basically back and forth on the top side, a little bit of the mid game, but it doesn't seem like G2 really want to commit to these fights.
No, it's been a good game from FB's side. They've actually been able to kind of control the Yasuo in the early game. Crash spent a lot of time around Frozen, first in the mid lane, and then after They moved out to the side lanes. He was there again, kind of protecting his Taliyah, making sure that there was no snowball happening. And now they've just been looking for big 5-on-5 team fights, which is exactly what they want to do. Patton is sitting on 2 fully completed items. Taliyah, 2 completed items as well. We know how strong both of them are in fights. And they just want to basically get out of any sort of situation where Yasuo is running wild in the side lanes, 1v1ing people, and just 5-on-5.
Yeah, and that's the duo that we should be highlighting as well. The two that can talk to each other fluently on the side of FB. They're trying to avoid that early skirmishing, that early 2v2, getting to team fights, places that you want to find yourselves. But Taliyah's ability to start the fights off seems to be what is going to help FB the most here. But the real win that they have is that Crash placing vision around Frozen is one of the easiest things for them to do. Just because, firstly, their mid laner can push, so he's going to have control and the ability to leave, but they can also communicate where they want those wards to go. It's the most important 2v2 for FB as a team, just because Crash is an emergency substitution. He's not going to be able to talk to the rest of the roster, and they just have to trust that the 2v2 is going well, as Frozen is the mid to late game shot caller for the roster as well.
Looking at the gold as well in the inventory is quite low. Most people under 500, a few just under 1,000. Kind of tells the story that we may get a bit more time on the map between the teams, possibly a fight in the next few minutes as they try to build up to that next item, because a lot of core items were actually just finished. Not too many recipes close to that mark just yet, so quite ready for the fights. It looks like update from league officials, players are going to play through.
Perfect. You mentioned
we are going to take a quick look at the last fight before we get back into game.
Yep, and the last fight, as you mentioned, I mean, the item spikes was something that was here for this one. And what we mentioned during this is that Taliyah is able to come in and lock a lot of people out. Just watch Trick. He doesn't know when to go forward. He has no real opportunity to go in there. Sven does do a lot of work here, though, I will say, Deficio, with Mithy to try and give G2 something. Yeah,
and then we see the engagement Trick only gets a knock-up on the Sejuani, not what you want, and it's actually the next knock-up that lands on the Frozen that Yasuo can use, but you're standing now in a group of 5 members, and that's kind of the thing with this current meta is it is just big 5-on-5 team fights, and with Exhaust and champions like Lulu, you have a lot of protection against these backline threats like a Yasuo.
Yeah, there are some champions that seems to still do okay in a meta like this for any kind of split pushing, any kind of pressure. Kassadin is one that comes to mind. Still can assassinate, but is actually kind of relevant in certain contexts. Yasuo very rarely is, because he's not a teleport user like what a Kassadin can be. And I feel like that's where the big part of it starts to go missing for them. So here we are.
All right, back onto the Rift and back into the action. Just under 25 minutes in as the players reset a little bit here mentally and are once ready to go 110%. Crash and Perkz meeting in the jungle, and FB has been controlling a lot of that vision.
Exactly, it's the same setup again. Whenever Frozen is in the top lane, Crash is in the jungle next to him with wards, spotting G2 to see if anything is happening, because when you are sitting as a Taliyah, it's very easy for Trick and Perkz to just go up 2 members and jump him and try and surprise him, and you can kill him very quickly. But with this protection and with this deep vision, it's just not happening. And we're waiting now for both teams to kind of play around the Baron. There's a Cloud Ray coming. That's going to be a quick one to take down, and then it's just straight on to Baron base.
You mentioned before the pause riv that the arena is effectively set for these guys as the outer turrets have started to drop. But it also means that the arena is longer and harder to traverse, especially if you're FB trying to get through the vision that is being placed deep from G2 now defensively on the flip side as well. Can they get in and break a structure, knowing that G2 will just willingly throw themselves at them to try and get some engages?
Ooh, looks like Perkz wanted to get over that wall and willingly throw himself in for a second. The rest of the team wasn't too close, so I think G2 is flexing their muscles a little bit and saying, you know what? We are ready to fight. We had that Baron just before the pause, and we were serious about it. We're going to set up once again. So clearing out, finally getting that red buff. FB's trying to deny it from Perkz and Sven. Unsuccessful. We'll see how this fight goes.
Yeah, trying to do this power play with Cho'Gath, where you ignore your side lane and just rush Baron because you can beast it. So you can secure it. There's no 50-50 smites happening. But they didn't actually pull the trigger here. So right now, a big wave just died bot lane, dealing a lot of damage to the turret. Expect is on its way. G2 just kind of slowing down quite a bit, and that's fine for FB. You know, they just want 3 items on both their carries. Yep. They're gonna keep taking team fights.
Adaptive Helm as well finished onto Trick. Even more resistances for G2 to stay in these fights even longer. Perkz to dash around. Sven to keep the autos up with that Storm Shield on from Mithy. See where they go for here. Frozen's going to take towards the top side. Looks like we might get these two splitting just a little bit. Crash will leave him for this time. So we'll see if Frozen gets himself into trouble up here and stay safe and really give G2 some problems.
And Sven is going towards the Prey build, the 1500 damage per minute build. He may not do that much damage per minute.
Oh, I thought it was just get the build and you'll deal the damage.
He's going to have the build to perhaps do the damage for certain minutes of the game. He's going for the Blade of the Ruined King, and that is just big against Warmog's users, against Gargoyle's Stoneplate purchasers as well.
Meanwhile, Perkz is further delaying his Infinity Edge with the build here, going for Last Whisper. So he's trying to have a bit more damage against the big tanks, but obviously that won't really help him a whole lot against Patton specifically. There is a lot of armor being stacked on Frozen's side, so there's a bit of bonus effects there, but Yasuo typically do not need to rush early armor penetration.
No, they never really need to at all.
And he's doing it in this game, which is quite surprising.
Hit Crash just dodges out of that one, but it looks like he can chomp down here. Expect doesn't take him out. It's Sven. Nature's Grasp goes across. Frozen's on the other side of the wall, and he's blocked G2, but
you
he's
say Sven Rip. I say that Last Whisper board right there from Perkz. Taking down Crash.
Oh boy.
Looks like they're onto Frozen now. Can anybody follow up? The kite coming in. And it looks like he's going to be able to only get a little bit more distance. Unravels the earth under G2's feet, but they pulled a rug out from under Frozen.
They'll get themselves the picks. And now with two dead, one of them being the jungler, G2 naturally will move over towards the Baron. Thaldren's nearby. Patton is still here.
Oh, the Flash Monsoon initiation coming in from Mithy. That's going to be Perkz following through as well. Thaldren throwing back the Bramble Smash to lock up the fight. And Patton is looking to the side, right through his sights, delivering the damage, but it's not enough DPS to take down Expect. Follows through forward, one last shot, and bada bing, bada boom, Expect goes down.
Suddenly, we get all kinds of weird engages happening from G2's side, but they couldn't actually kill anyone the second time, and Baron is being started by FB here. Patton, he's getting stronger and stronger.
Shadow Flash engages just don't work, but a bunch of him moving to the Baron. They might be able to get this. Trick is just around the corner, though.
Oh,
no, it's not.
Just a few. Trying to hop away. Looks like he's going to live through that one with little W damage. And here comes G2 coming back in, but they have Frozen as well.
But they didn't kill Trick yet. He's on his way. Baron is going very low, though. He got to go in instantly.
Trick's in 900, 875. Oh, wow, so early on the smite from both junglers. Auto down, and it goes to Crash. They are going in for the fight now as they take down. It's Trick and Sven. It's like catch. What's going on in the fight? 28-30 in, and back and forth. That Baron was definitely grabbable.
But in the end, FB gets everything. He got a few more kills. They got the Baron itself. They're getting a mid lane tower. Trick was very close for the second time today when it came to stealing that Baron. But in the end, it doesn't even matter because FB gets it.
Yeah, there's still two people dead for G2 with the Baron going to the Sejuani. What felt like a random flail thrown in whilst he was also hitting Trick, and that just opens up the base for them. FB are starting to run away.
Successfully.
With the game.
Yes.
Not running away.
I liked it. Let's see how they ran away with the game right here, really getting onto Trick. And I can't wait to see the HP for the Baron, but Trick did a great job of keeping himself around here.
Yeah, because first Patton ran away from Baron itself to kill Trick, but then he ran back in towards the Baron, and it got so close. While Sven was trying to deal damage and keep them busy. Let's see, he jumps in, Baron is down to 800.
87.
It just regained a little bit of HP as well.
He smoted just at the end. There you go.
It was his smite. I thought it was his auto. I did not see the smite from the sky, and then it just kind of, FB is able to collapse.
Yeah, Perkz also flashes away at the end, makes sure he gets out of the pit and exits the arena. Very close from Trick, I'll give him that one. Close is not going to secure the Baron, and it loses them an inhibitor as well.
That only means G2 can funnel FB right into that front door of another side of the base. That's perfect for all these knockups. So Howling Gale.
You're saying it's a strategy.
Yeah.
The long con right there, like fall behind, get into our base, small interest. Yeah, I can see it.
Wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yasuo does excel at taking minions.
Perkz did a 2v1, wait for Expect to come around the corner as he lumbers his way through as a giant Sho'gath this game. Those 3 kills here on to Sven, giving him a bit of power if he can find positioning on that back line. We've seen it actually from Sven and Patton. Neither of them are really getting in, and it's only going to be Patton's advantage is that Tristana gains range and will be able to hit eventually from the outside.
He's very strong. 3 fully completed items. Got the Last Whisper. That's so important in the current meta against all these big tanks. A lot of damage on
another turret.
They need some sort of engage from G2 side.
The funnel in isn't enough. A great spread from FB doesn't really allow any two people to be initiated on. That's what G2 is looking for. Crash is just a pin cushion right now for Sven, and he gets out alive. Nature's Grasp goes forward. They have so many tools for zoning with the Taliyah, the Maokai. It's hard for G2 to step forward at this point.
So little they can actually do to see second inhib fall now. FB in full control, still looking for that first win in this group stage here for them after qualifying through the play-ins as well.
And it was good from Frozen to block them all off, use the Taliyah wall, and prevent any kind of engage.
This Taliyah wall's been spot on in this game.
Yeah, they certainly have been, and now with it not available, the question comes across of can G2 engage? And Mithy's got Flash, but he doesn't have Monsoon, so it'll have to be a Q.
They're going to have to wait then. It's going to be big. Steel Tempest getting charged up by Perkz on the side. Just misses his targets as we're watching Sven on the top as well. Patton's taking a few turret shots, but he's really getting the temp to the fight in for G2 and doing more damage in that sense. They're going to be able to take down another turret, and they are just doing this uncontested, really.
Yeah, there's no minions to help them, so it's going to take an awful long time against the Janna. However, they are poking it down, whittling the health bar of the last remaining structure, waiting perhaps for the Taliyah wall.
I don't know if they have enough time to take down Expect for that Weaver's wall, but they do lock out a lot of the damage. Frozen actually gets himself on the right side. It's Perkz going in his last breath along with G2 as they try to take down 1907 Fenerbahce. A few kills come through, and that Staldron and Patton, a lot of the damage is gone. Where can G2 go?
Well, let's see. They can actually try and push up, maybe get a tower here. There is a Cloud Drake alive, but you want more. Perkz is looking for some kills here.
Oh, he got it, gets the flash over. Beautifully done to get that extra follow-up damage with Steel Tempest.
Oh, he might even fight Crash.
Who's next?
Oh.
Not Crash.
Oh. No, that was just a good game.
Trinket
Good
wall.
game.
But he gets the kill. Very clean stuff from Perkz, throwing the tornado, max range hitting it, and flashing with confidence, knowing that he's just that good at throwing the Qs out that he'll connect it.
And we got to see that fight again as well, because Patton got chain CC'd, and then everyone from G2 just used the ulti to kill him. That was Feast, that was Yasuo. Let's see it again here. What is it that connects onto him? The first one misses from Expect. Long-range tornado from Mithy on the way. Nope, not hitting either.
Does he get himself in there?
It's just Trick going in with the engage, and then you get everyone piling on to Patton.
Yeah, one piece of knockup connects, the rest is sure to follow. And that's the hard part of being against a knockup composition. Basically, it's very hard to cleanse and get out of unless you have a flash up with it.
And you got to have your eyes everywhere, because if you get knocked up once, you probably get knocked up a few more times. So very difficult to get out of. We just saw G2, as I said, funnel them in, guys.
There you go.
Get right in front of the base.
Against a lot of knockups in this game as well. If you have a QSS and you use it when you get knocked up and then spam your flash, you can actually get out of it as well. And he's doing that in this game here on Patton's side.
We're starting to see the real strategy, though, Deficio in this game. That is losing two inhibitors to funnel minions into the base. Look at the CS advantages that everyone's getting. The only reason this game is so close in gold. There's a lot owed to minions.
That's true. There's a lot of fun. Another good wall here coming in. Perkz is on the wrong side of it.
Rinse and repeat. Every time the Weaver's wall is up, they want a little bit more damage on the inhibitor turrets, and it's been working, but G2's getting stronger. So they're able to stave off a little bit of the pressure each time.
We had a flash engage last time from Trick to guarantee the knockup. Not available this time around here. Vintage is completed on the Yasuo, so some serious damage coming down. But once again, FB are in control. They have a great team fight comp. They just need to make sure Frozen or Patton will not get knocked up during the engage.
They don't need minions. Janna can't shield an inhibitor as well, so they're choosing the correct lane to get in and start to pressure. The risk of coming into the middle lane is being funneled against us. Really flashed.
Trick very low, but he can really just facilitate the fight. He wants the HP to do a little bit more than that and also participate. And it looks like they lose the inhibitor for that. Great catch by FB to deplete Trick's health bar enough to get in and out safely. Baron is now alive. They will head back out. Vision, breadcrumb wards left thoroughly through the jungle, so they know where G2's coming from. Looks like they're going to start this up and crush it down.
They are coming, G2. Can they get there in time is the question. It looks like they can.
It's going to be 2000. 1,000 on it, couldn't get over the wall, locked into place. Nicely done by Crash, keeping his eyes in multiple places.
Whoa.
And a few shots from Padden means G2 has to head for the hills on this one. It's all about defending that top inhibitor now. And it's going to be a quick clear from Expect before he joins the team.
Good call right there from FB, using that big Maokai ulti as well. They still want to kill this tower. Last time they were up here, they lost the fight. This time around, they got Baron buff.
I think they're going to Weaver's Wall.
We've seen it before, like 5 times, I believe.
Has Perkz tried to win wall?
Now they're going to make me a liar.
Oh, it's engaging.
Just an initiation of 1 onto Frozen. Is that too much, though? Do they have the follow-up damage? A big heal. The Redemption Monsoon coming out of mid. He puts Trick back into a fighting position with the rest of the team. G2 going forward, but they're just missing. They're being out-kited. Japone and Padden turning around to fight back and delivering the damage. Piercing arrows flying through, but nobody's falling just yet. Slivers of hell as they try to limp away from the fight. A draw between the 80 carries, and it's left now to the rest of the teams.
That was a 1-for-1, just the 280 carries hitting each other in the end and actually killing each other at the same time. Baron buff is still here with the minions. Trick is back out to try and defend. There's another wall coming in.
I guess it's a goodbye wall, because they are going to recall after throwing that one out, so FB will call it a day. And you're right, the only trade in the end was just the 80 carries. But you will see that Expect is the reason the trade was only 80 carries. As the fight breaks out from Perkz, just keep your eyes on the Cho'Gath when he thinks he has an opportunity in about 5 seconds.
We're following him. He's on his way in there. The big Cho'Gath.
His eyes are on Frozen. That's the freest kill he's ever seen in his life. Like, it's juicy and it's Crash.
Ah! Crash right in front of him. All right, let's see the 80 carry standoff right here. Sven looks at Padden, looks him in the eyes, saying we can take this one. Bam, bam, hit each other, smack, smack, and everyone dies.
Why aren't you play-by-playing?
Because that's all I got, man.
That
was my one move I just used there.
See the damage actually delivered between these two. Expect getting to be chunked down by Padden, Thaldrn chunked down by Sven, and in the end, they put each other 6 feet under. Now spawned again, once again with their teams. 1 minute and 30 onto that Elder Drake. The Baron is still down for a bit here. Got a quarter of that time left on to FB. So it looks like they'll try to once again utilize it towards that top side.
Persistence is key, Riv. They're back towards top.
How is this tower still alive? Like, it's actually insane. They've been up here such a long time. Mithy shields it and then the wall from Frozen, but they just can't take it down. All right, come on, they got 45 seconds on this Baron here.
It's literally an explosive shot, like 3 hits.
Yeah, basically.
But there's the Storm Shield, goes out. He can probably do that again in 2 seconds at this point. And it looks like they are waiting patiently. They feel like G2 is going to make one wrong move, step a little too far out, and that'll be a bit of a catch, just like the damage they had on Trick before. None of that is happening that much easier. Padden getting in front, it's a turret tank.
Kill the tower! Yeah, they did it!
It's gone. Trick tries to go in. That's not the knockup, though. Wild Growth very early onto Padden as they jump out. Damage onto Crash as he tries to deliver the last bit of crowd control for his team to persevere. As Thaldrn stands on the front line tall in between 3. He gets the last breath from Yasuo, and they flash forward towards Padden now. Huge damage coming out as he buster shots back. And what a fight for both teams.
They hold the base again, though, Riv. I don't know if they can push out from this base. They should be able to in about 10 to 20 seconds. In the end, I think
it's going to happen, Rusty.
And what they will look towards is in the top left of your screen, it's an Elder Dragon if they're going to push out for anything.
And we've seen so many fights now where the damage from Sven, specifically on this Varus, just seems to be much more effective at actually killing the first tank. Because Padden and Frozen can't stand still and just shoot. They have to kite around all the time. They have to dodge multiple knockups. Otherwise, they might die. Sven literally stands still and just fires at the first thing in front of him. And that's enough to actually kill a tank on the side of FB.
Here they go. Elder Dragon is here, as is Crash. And there he goes.
Over the wall. We didn't expect anything different. Still has a little bit to get in. Has to wait for the cooldown. May not be able to make it in time. A little bit of a reset on that Elder. 2,500 in. They're waiting to blast it down. They want the fight possible. It goes to Trick and the rest of the team. They get a big buff in damage. And 1907 Fenerbahce is going to have an even harder time cracking the base again.
We got every single inhib alive. Apparently their late game strategy of lose your inhibs and the Baron so that the enemy team will just funnel farm towards you is currently working for G2 Esports. They're still down in gold, but at this point it doesn't really matter a whole lot.
Yeah, their combat stats are probably a bit higher than what is not reflected through the gold just there. It is a lead for FB. The map control still belongs to them, but we are seeing G2 start to stretch out their wings a bit more, push their luck and control some vision. With the Elder Dragon buff, they should be able to do it rather successfully.
Yeah, they can sneak a few wards into their own jungle, being like, yes, we did it. We can see the enemy for a few seconds. Not really moving out further. You gotta also always respect potential backdoors when you have obviously these open inhibs, but luckily there's no way for FB to actually finish the game with the backdoor. The Nexus turrets have not really been touched a whole lot in this game.
FB have reset completely though. They've brought this back to the middle of the lane, in mid lane, and given G2 an opportunity to advance.
We just gotta look in these fights here at how Frozen and Patton are not able to get enough damage off against the tanks on the side of G2. While Sven, as I said before, is just left untouched because there is no one who can really dive onto him and kill him. Also with that Janna in. So Patton is doing his best to deal enough damage, but it's a Cho'Gath and a Jarvan who's jumping in and out of the fight, and then constant CC trying to connect onto Patton. That's keeping him busy every time.
Right back towards the Baron, 45 seconds. It looks like the minion waves are pushed up decently. Fenerbahce could have used a few more towards the bot side, but I don't think they have time.
Oh, he missed
with how fast G2 is ready to go for this Baron. Flash down for Trick means one flag in. He can't get out with that Cataclysm.
And also he can't EQ in, as Rusty highlighted earlier, and then actually flash for the knock-up. That's a big one for FB here.
Good point.
Don't worry, Mythy has flash. They'll be able to engage one way or another. Expect also been in every fight. He's never been split pushing, so they've still got opportunities, and the best Yasuos in the world don't need other people to hit that knockup.
Who
They've
is
got themselves.
the best Yasuo in the world?
Rookie. I'm just going to throw it out there.
There we go. There we go. Challenge onto whatever other member or other player plays.
You disagree with me? I've probably forgotten the other Yasuos. He's the only one I remember.
That's honest, though.
I think it's okay. I think you could have definitely said a lot of, you know, weirder things. I think Rookie's okay.
Has he played it at Worlds, though?
Like,
it doesn't matter. Don't answer that question. It was a trick question. Still going to back off of this fight. Nothing happening. You guys are getting me all excited here for nothing. Come on.
Sorry. We're waiting for the big fight, man. 43 minutes in.
It is around Baron. That Elder has worn off for G2 now, so a little less oomph to their punch, but still pretty powerful. 43 minutes.
Oh my God!
The double knockup, but that's onto the tanks. Is the follow-up damage there now? Frozen on the right side blocks off the team. A good AoE, but Redemption gets that health back onto G2. And now they are just huddling together, trying to get the tank in the front. But do they have a turnaround? Patton's been able to deliver damage to expect, which means that Cho'Gath doesn't want to just get to the back of the line. Doldrin getting pushed around as FB splits in the fight, and still nobody goes down in this 43-minute fight fest. Baron's still alive, and both teams want it.
Yeah, we gotta look at cooldowns right now. Yasuo is ready. No Varus ulti, no Feast either from Expect. Look to be fighting again. Crash's ulti's not ready either.
Doldrin teleports in, home guard's on, but it's really just to flex the muscles and taunt. He's gonna get that 3-hit knockup. Perkz, so much damage, waiting for the ulti to come back, and Perkz is gonna go down. No, Sven lives. Sven gets the heal in and keeps himself alive. Expect now rotating in with the team to the base. Will they be able to live? In goes Perkz, and he goes down. 10-10 as they make their way on the inhibitors.
One dead means it'll be 3 inhibitors at the very least. If they want to push for more, they could try, but that would be far too risky as Ben is still alive.
46 seconds on Perkz to come up. Remember, his GA's down as well if the base even lasts that long, so they have to be careful at whatever fights they take. Fenerbahce wanting the inhibitors and possibly wanting safety after this, as it can easily be turned around if they greed too much. That is crashed down. Chain of Corruption used to the CC follow-up may not be there for the rest. And again, the base is held.
Yeah, there might be Baron now because the super minions are just on the way. They weren't there. There were no minions for FB to actually finish the game. Maybe 2 casters, and that was about it. Trick is going straight towards the Baron here. There's still 10 seconds on Perkz.
Yeah, it should be the Baron for G2 because FB have just conceded they are not going towards it directly. Tristana was perhaps looking for some kind of backdoor, but G2, they cleared mid-wave, they prevent it from happening. There's no minions.
It's 4v4 at the moment. Perkz is on the way from base, but Frozen is already here with the blue buff as well, trying to deal some damage.
Thaldrin coming in. Nature's Grasp is only going to lock up a few of the tanks. Over the wall goes Trick. That's the knockup they might have needed. Big damage on to expect. Lock of the Iron Solari Redemption comes in to keep the team safe, but there's really no going back in. Around the wall comes mid. Sven is there with the autos. Wind wall goes up, but Padden has everything to shoot up front. Perkz taking a lot of damage. Perkz just living, gets the shield down, and he keeps himself alive. Trick, however, falls to the hands of Padden. And once again, FB and G2 trade 1 for 1.
But this time we got super minions in the base, Riff.
And they're going.
It was a 4v5 and it was a 1-for-1 trade in the end. Padden, he's on the way.
Frozen's gonna cut him off. Frozen's gonna try to cut everybody off, knocking them back for just a second, unraveling that earth. Liandry's burning them down. Padden on the turrets. He's gonna look to end the game. Explosive shot drops the first one. The demolition is in for the win, and it is gonna be 1907 Fenerbahce trying to claim this win. He goes down. It is gonna be the save for G2. The rest of the team piling in for Fenerbahce. 3 dead, but Crash looks to have no damage, and Frozen says, no, we cannot.
There are 3 dead members on the side of FB. The jungler and mid laner alive. Baron is still there. All of G2 currently just defending the base against so many super minions.
G2 are just playing Hero Siege, so I don't think they'll be able to get out to the Baron itself. Too many supers are now going to start pushing in to their base. Padden, he saw it. He saw his moment, but he should have backed away after the 2 turrets went down.
Well, at least he got the 2 turrets. Right now his team is trying to take down the Baron. G2, they know it's happening. They're TPing in. Trick is on the way.
Frozen low, no mana there. Oh, this is a big chomp down. Dessert, dinner, and everything here for Expect. He just has to choose which one it is. Trick is going to pick up that kill, though, so they still have the chomp down. A good save for the Baron. No chance here for Crash if they get that damage down perfectly. And G2 has weathered an amazing storm.
Perfect.
Yeah. Clean calls. They might use this Baron just to defend in their base, get, you know, the super minion, their own minions buffed up to just stay alive a little longer, and then try and clear 3 lanes of double super minions coming in. There is still an open Nexus.
Oh boy. They need minions to be alive to have any use from this Baron. Sven and Perkz will destroy minion waves with the champions they've got, with the items they've completed. And so there's never really a world where minions will end the game for FB. They have to group up, they have to do it themselves. We get to see how this all started off with FB a little bit too greedy to try and secure this.
Yeah, it doesn't go down fast enough. And then with the TP and, of course, Trick on the way here. Frozen already used his flash in the last fight, so there's no way for him to actually stay alive. And as soon as he dies, seeing as there's no TP on the Maokai to threaten any sort of backdoor, the rest of G2 can just take down the Baron.
6 odd wards also protecting the Baron area. Anywhere that he wanted to teleport was his, and he chooses the correct spot to be almost invisible as well with a flank.
All right, let's see here. We got FB pushing in with the minions against the Baron buff G2 trying to defend. There's always a chance you just say, let's just rush it down. 5 members going straight for the Nexus, try and kill it, but then you risk losing the fight.
We've also got offense Smithy. I think it's worth noting with his Ludens Echo. He's moving very quickly as this Charter. The AP will help with everything. It's just that he's got a Ludens for the comedy of, you know, doing a bit of extra burst. Mostly the move speed, I would imagine.
The 6 DPS, dude.
We have to remember, coming in here, no team of the Turkish Champions League has ever been able to get a victory in the World Group stage, and 1907 Fenerbahce is looking to put their stamp on that with one of these plays. Relentless in their pursuit for that Nexus, but G2 has had the defense of a lifetime here, staving off 3 inhibitors down for the past 12 minutes.
I've seen twice now Padden use the QSS when he gets knocked up, and there's like a little mini stun you can actually QSS out of and then use an ability to jump out, either his rocket jump or the flash. So he stays alive despite getting hit by Perkz. Inhib top going down as fast as it actually spawned. Trick looking for a fight.
Didn't get the initiation he wanted to, get pushed out of that, up towards the top side.
Padden.
Very low, back and forth, gets shot down by Expect. They could go coast to coast if they get every member of 1907 Fenerbahce. Frozen into the Zanyas, but gold won't save you for long. Double kill for Perkz.
We can still got some minions near the Nexus. We see some pings from FB as well, looking to potentially go for it, but all of G2 back to defend. Perkz is currently pushing in the top lane on his own.
Yeah, those two supers were Tom Cruising their way into that base as well, but they're not going to be able to kill the Nexus. Everything will reset once again, but G2 have got so much time on the board to clear out the waves, and conveniently as they win a team fight, an objective sports.
So crazy what one fight, an ace like that could do, opening up the entire base, both Nexus turrets down possibly. No minions there for G2, so they would have had to do one hell of a fight to get through the structures, but they are stopping 1907 Fenerbahce in their tracks.
So QSS is on cooldown now, but it's only 30-second cooldown on a Yasuo ulti this late in the game, so as soon as Panda gets knocked up, he can't use any sort of defensive abilities to get out of it, and he just dies instantly. Expect didn't need to use his flash either, so that's ready for the next fight in case he needs it to do exactly the same thing we saw here. Land a knock up on the back line and then jump them.
See how quickly Padden was taken out in that fight with the damage represented by Sven. Now G2 making their way quickly into the base. 5 strong, pushing Crash around, but they know they can't stay for long.
Yeah, they'll take the inhibitor. It's free to take as well. Baron's about to run off, you would have to imagine, so they use the opportunity. They have very small window to secure a major objective. The fight is still going.
Straight into the middle. Trick cannot flash out of this. He's put himself right in. Expect tries to flash in as well. They want the fight now before FB can get their footing